Hello everyone and welcome back to the And More Bus Videos YouTube channel. You join me in Skippingdale Retail Park. That if I'm entirely honest with you, the bus stop for Skippingdale Retail Park, when you're looking in the direction over here rather than over there, really doesn't feel like a retail park. It gives you a sense that we're more of an industrial estate. But you would be mistaken, this is definitely Skippingdale Retail Park on the Scunthorpe 2020 map, where in this video we are going to be taking a spin on the service to Scunthorpe, currently deciding as to which one we're going to be driving. It is going to be the number 7 from Skippingdale Retail Park to Scunthorpe Bus Station Stand F. The route itself takes approximately 20 odd minutes. We'll see if it's a little bit quicker, a little bit slower. We've got a pretty decent run hopefully ahead of us, and we'll get the bus all set up. And now I shall see if this works. I don't think it will. I say that, I know it won't, so I better not actually mess with it, because if I mess with it, it might not get everything else to work. So there we go, so while the machine sets up the ticket machine, I'm going to get the wipers to work. It is a rainy day. And we'll get the bus revved up. There we go, so we get rid of the low air pressure warning. So yes, we are driving with another Trent Barton repaint, part of the rather stunning Trent Barton repaint pack. This time we're driving in the X38 livery. I have been on the Trent Barton X38, I've also been on the Arriva X38, as they share the route between Derby and Burton. Theoretically, on a good day when all the vehicles are running, there's no staff shortages, there is supposedly 4 PVR on the route, so 4 buses on a peak vehicle requirement, with it running every 20 minutes, with 2 buses provided by Trent Barton and 2 vehicles provided by Arriva. Now, it's all good and dandy for people with concessionary passes or people with tickets such as sort of returns for that route that are accepted through each company. But if you buy a day ticket for Arriva or you buy a day ticket for Trent Barton, I believe at the moment, unless it has changed in more recent times, you can't use it on the other operator. That means at peak time, when you're in the position where you're waiting for the bus to rock up, and they're all late, or one of them gets cancelled, you would then have to pay again. That's not particularly ideal. So I don't know if it has changed now, but I know that was the previous setup on it, where Arriva don't accept the zigzag tickets, and I presume Trent Barton's the same. That then does kind of defeat the object of sharing a bus service if you don't actually accept one another's tickets. So we'll set off from the retail park now. And we'll begin our adventure to Scunthorpe. So I was going to drive the West Country 3 map. I was going to have a little drive on the 12, but unfortunately that map's taken absolutely ages to install. So I've decided we'll just have a little bit of a short drive on this run for this video, and then for a video in the future I'm just going to stop temporarily here, and I'm going to just up the speed of those wipers because not doing me any favours. There we go, that's a bit better. Yeah, there we go. So I was also considering driving the Renown for this video, and then I realised I don't actually have the HOF file in for the Renown. I don't quite know why, but I couldn't find the HOF file. So it then was like, well, I'll have to drive the B7. Oh no, what a shame. I'll have to drive the B7 down national speed limit sections of road. What an absolute shame. So, a lovely, lovely bus for high speed runs is this very, very nice vehicle. It's also absolutely perfect for your stop-start city work as well, as I have said before, the Euro 4 and 5 predominantly, but you can also argue Euro 6 vehicles by Volvo, the B7RLEs with Eclipse bodywork. Although in fairness, even the B7RLE chassis on a Centro bodywork, for example, was still just as good. Very, very high-speed vehicles, and they do the job. Absolutely stunning motors. I don't think we'll pretty much pick anybody up on this trip, as it is an afternoon trip. So we'll have to see. What's quite nice about a route like the retail park one is you do actually pick people up there. That's quite good for this map, because if you do a route and like you do some circulars round here, you set off from Scunthorpe, and by the time you're about a quarter of the way through, because of how big the map is and how the people have been set up, you then spend about 2/3, about 3/4, 2/3 of your trip empty. You might get the occasional person, but even then they're rare. So it is quite nice to do a run like this, where we've already started with a couple of people that pretty much, I imagine, we're going into town, so we've got them on board. We get the odd occasional person that's stop by stop, like this, and we'll ignore the fact I had to drive through that woman to get to the actual curb because she was stood in the middle of the road. We'll ignore that, but we can also theoretically, minus the livery that I did choose because I thought it looked cool, but we can theoretically imagine that it probably won't be long now until we end up the day where Grimsby Depot loan a bus to Scunthorpe, and it is an Eclipse, and entirely honest, I mean, one of the more modern ones. And yes, Scunthorpe, I believe until very recently, I don't think they've run them now, had some of the old FX05 Lincolnshire Roadcar ones and the ex-First Rate Manchester, for example, that Stagecoach acquired Wigan. They've now been scrapped, but they're nothing compared to these. I've always been a fan of the Euro 4, 5s and even 6s. B7s rather than your Euro 3s, because your D7Cs, they're just not as... They just don't feel like they've got as much power, they don't have as much oomph from the off, and unlike these, those are very, very confined to stop-start work. These kind of vehicles on the bold front, bar a few oddballs, because you do get that with any batch, where there's a couple of vehicles that just aren't up for scratch, but the majority of these vehicles that I've been on are absolutely ideal for your long distance work. I could imagine them going city to city, as well as doing this kind of local work that we're driving now. So they are lovely buses, but your D7Cs, your Euro 3s, they're very confined to this kind of local work. Very, very confined. Oh, no, it is the other way. I'd sort of just assumed it was going to be left, and quite glad I checked at last minute. And in fairness, something I just love about this Scunthorpe 2020 map is obviously all the routes are updated, so they're all relatable. And it's just quite a good time, bar the map having to load itself. But it's just quite nice to just absolutely floor a decent motor like this. And even in fairness, even an old banger like the B7, like the ALX 400 B7s, to just spend a bit of time just flooring them around the estate. You do one route to another, and it's just different. In the same way that, don't ask me how or why, but I can do a couple of hours driving around, just going round in loops on Park Springs Estates. It's just quite a nice thing to do. But if you've got a decent bus, I mean, something like this is ideal, but I tend to take the renown round on that. And it's 25 minutes circular, but if you drive relatively quick, you can do it in just shy of about 15-20 minutes. Second exit, okay. So what I tend to find with that route is if you do it in, let's say, about 18 minutes or so, use that as an average, you get about 12 minutes sat around. So go on to the back wall of the bus station at Gainsborough, have a sit down, have a sit down. I can go and leave computer, go for a brew, come back again. And then even if you leave a couple of minutes late, you're fully there in the knowledge then that you'll catch up that time anyway. So it's a run that I really don't mind doing, is those Park Springs. The only thing you do have to be careful of is you have to remember which way around you're going. And you've got to, I mean, I tend to find with rollers, I just keep the same blind on. And just put the number in between 1 and 2. I mean, that we're going back to like old school style, but put the number between 1 and 2 and just go around like that. And obviously there's the assumption that in real life the locals, I mean, they'd just be expecting the bus in that direction anyway, or if they jumped on at that time, they know it's either going one way or over, but it'll still drop them off. But again, it's another argument of mine for small circulars like that. I don't quite... I mean, I get it on a more frequent corridor, like the Pie Lane services, the 25 and 26 in Cannock. I get that, where both routes are roughly speaking every 10 to 15 minutes each individual service, not the combined, but each service is roughly every 10 to 15 minutes itself. I get that because it's busy. And the circular, we're talking about just shy of an hour circular, something like that. But when you've got the circulars like the 1 and 2 at Park Springs, I don't understand that. I don't know what the screen did then. I don't understand it. I don't get it. Because I don't see the need of having a bus in each direction when the circular takes, I mean, about 20 minutes. You might as well have the buses running every half an hour in the same direction, because at least if they're running the same direction, people know which side to stand all the time. They're not confused. They know what time they'll get home, be it on the first half loop or the second, and they know the crack with it instead of making it unnecessarily confusing. I mean, it goes back to debates that people in the industry have had for a while, where it's this idea that you've got to make bus services and running a bus company as user-friendly as possible. It has to be the most basic thing to ensure that it is user-friendly, because if it isn't, then you're not going to get people on your buses, and that's not through their choice. It's not them going, oh, well, out of spite, I'm not catching your bus. We'll also ignore the fact that that car drove right into the rear of this bus. But it's this idea that they don't quite know what's going on, and it's the fear of the unknown. If it confuses people, scares people, they're not going to go out the way and pay money to use that service, because it's like, well, why are you going to spend your money on something that you don't trust, you don't know, and it's all confusing when you've got an easier option of jumping in a taxi for a few more quid. There's a lot of this where it all has to be done so carefully to ensure that it is all user friendly, so that people know what the crack is, know what's going on, and can use the bus in confidence. Because especially when you've got all these different companies running different route numbers to that place, and different fares and different route deviations that are not clear and things like that, I mean, an enthusiast or someone who's worked in the industry will know what the crack is, but everybody else won't know. And then you wonder why you don't get that many people on board buses at the moment. The number is returning, but it's nowhere near as high as it used to be. We are 5 minutes early. Lovely. Oops. I mean, we're due here at 17 past, and it's not even gone 10 past yet. What can you do when it's a short 20-minute route, there's no official timing points and things, you'll just floor it all the way around. Or in our case, just hardly pick anybody up and keep driving. I always have to double check that everybody's got off because it's assigned to a specific stand. If you try and offload in drop off, sometimes they don't all get off. Well, now it wants me to go straight round to stand, but I'm off round to layover. Probably via a screenshot, I think, because, oh, there we go, and it's come off anyway. Oh, that's a wall. There we go, let's get a quick screenshot, I think. I wish the middle point on this was actually the middle point. So there we go, so that was the 7 service from Skippendale Retail Park to Scunthorpe bus station with the Trent Barton X38 bus. I really hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have done, do be sure to click that like button so that more people can find it and enjoy like you have. And if you haven't already, do be sure to subscribe to the And More Bus Videos YouTube channel for more content like this from the simulation section, as well as an archive of over 5,000 backseat and engine-focused public transport videos from the UK and beyond. With buses, trams and trains, there is something in the archive for everyone, with an additional 21 backseat and engine-focused videos added to this channel each week. So the archive continues to get bigger, so there's always the old classics as well as new exciting content to watch too. I have quite a lot of exciting trips planned coming up very, very soon, so there'll be even more exciting content waiting in the lists to be published. Once again though, I would like to thank you all for watching. I really hope you've enjoyed this video, and I will see you all in the next one I make. Goodbye for now. Bye!